Hi everyone, my name is Steph, this is the Novelty Corner and welcome back to my channel. Today I am kicking off another reading vlog. This is another one of my friends Choose My TBR reading vlogs, and this time it is Megan from the Meowth Vader who has suggested a couple of books for me to read. I think there is originally 4 or 5 books on this list, but I've decided to go with 3 of them just because I have a whole host of projects going on at the moment, so I'll save the other ones for another time. And I'm actually going to start it today. This is the last official day of the school holidays. I mean, I still have the weekend before I go back to work, but this is my designated reading day where I do nothing. I don't leave. I might go for a walk later, but I'm not leaving the apartment. I've decorated for Halloween today. I am just going to enjoy a day of doing absolutely nothing except read, and I haven't done one of those for a while. Because it's also nice and bright and sunny, I thought this was a good time to read these books because she has suggested some books that are probably a little bit more on the body horror end of stuff, which I'm fine with, but I just need to mentally prepare myself and be in a nice bright space. So I'm going to be starting this vlog today, and I thought I would kick it off with Comfort Me with Apples by Catherynne and Valente, which is a novella. And I have read Catherynne and Valente a long time ago. I've read some of her sci-fi stuff, so I need to get back into her writing. I really enjoyed it when I read it. I also have What Moves the Dead by T. Kingfisher, which I have seen around for ages. I just haven't read it yet. I did read T. Kingfisher's Paladin series. I'm mentally blanking on what the series is called. Anyway, I read all 3 of those, but I listened to them as audiobooks. And the third book that I'm going to read for this vlog, which I may not get to today, but is definitely on my list, is How to Be Perfect, the Correct Answer to Every Moral Question by Michael Schur. He is the creator of The Good Place. So these are a little bit outside my wheelhouse, but I'm very excited to read them, so stay tuned. I am just about 50% of the way through Comfort Me with Apples, and this is really interesting. It's delightfully creepy. So it's set in a gated community and Sophia is our character, and everything's just a little bit off, and I'm beginning to have suspicions about what's going on, but I'm not 100% certain. It has very much like a horror fairy tale kind of vibe going on, which I'm really enjoying, with just enough creepy, disturbing elements to make you go, what on earth is this? So yeah, I'm gonna keep reading. Also, the gated community is very strange because it has all of these rules about what you can and can't do, which I know is not strange for a gated community, but the rules for this one are very, very odd. I'm not finished yet, but this is right up my alley. I've got maybe like 15 pages to go. I love this so much. This is clever. It's so good, and I actually can't tell you anything else about the story if you decide to read it. I will say, if you are someone who is particularly religious, go into this with caution. Me, on the other hand, I think this is friggin' delightful despite how disturbing it is. It is such a great commentary on so many things. Sophia is the wife of a man, and she is always thinking, like, one of the first things that we hear from her is that she was made for him. Okay, so straight away you start getting certain particular vibes, right? And she lives in this gated community, she's friends with her neighbors, and they're always asking her if she's happy. And she starts discovering these little things around her home that begin to give her pause. And so she obviously begins to unravel some things that are going on. I was not expecting this to go where it went, and I am so freaking delighted that it did. This is clever, and I'm so glad I bought a physical copy of it because I'm gonna keep this book for a long time, and I will probably reread it because I have no words. I loved it. So I've had lunch and I am going to start reading What Moves the Dead by T. Kingfisher. I'm looking forward to this. I don't really know anything about it. Well, it does say it's what every classic horror book needs, and it has something to do with fungus or fungi, and this should be interesting. I will check in with you when I have read a little bit of the book. Oh, and I didn't say this before, but I was annotating Comfort Me with Apples with purple post-it notes to match the purple on the front cover, and I thought as a contrast to the lovely dark green and the fact that there are reds on the various mushrooms. I'm going to use some red sticky notes to annotate this book, just for those who are interested. Okay, so I'm about 45 pages into What Moves the Dead, and this is intriguing. So our main character, or our point of view character, is Easton, and they are a former soldier. And there's a really cool little section in this book that talks about how pronouns are used in this story, and that there are different pronouns for different groups of people, and soldiers all use the equivalent of they, them pronouns. And I don't know if it's so much that they're seen as not having a gender, but it's just the pronouns of a soldier. So when people finally leave the service, they can choose to go back to the pronouns that they used prior to being in the service, or in Easton's case, they just continue to use they, them, or car, can, which are the pronouns that they have in the book. So I just thought that was interesting from like a language point of view. Easton is traveling to visit a friend from their childhood who is said to be on her deathbed. Finds that the house that his friend and her brother are living in is just dilapidated, and frankly everyone thinks it's haunted. So yeah, that's about where I am in the story, and it's really interesting. I mean, Kingfisher has a really great writing style. It does feel like a very haunted kind of story, and I am intrigued to figure out what's going on. I also found out there's a second book that's coming out next year. I'm wondering how it's going to end off at the end of the book. So I finished What Moves the Dead. We may hear music coming from down on the street because they've been playing music really loudly for the last 15 minutes, but it stopped for the time being. So I'm just going to wrap this up. Now it's starting again, so I don't know if you guys can hear that. Anyway, this is delightfully creepy. So it is a retelling of one of Edgar Allan Poe's stories, poems? I don't know. I haven't read it. And it's creepy. This is basically about a sentient fungus that comes to life and the effect that it has on people that it infects, and it is creepy. And I was reading T. Kingfisher's notes, and she was talking about the inspiration behind the story and Edgar Allan Poe's works, and the fact that, you know, Easton appeared as a character for her because she wanted to be able to explore the story in more detail because she felt like she didn't get enough information from the original. There's a side character in here who is a mycologist? Yes, mycologist, who's painting and studying the fungi in the local area. And she describes her as Beatrix Potter's aunt, the fictional Beatrix Potter's aunt, which I thought was cool. This is delightfully creepy, like totally delightfully creepy, and I am intrigued to see what is going on with the second book in this series. I'm assuming it's going to be Easton's story. I'm assuming that the Tarn is going to reappear. These two are great for October reading. Just putting it out there, and they're short. So I've got a few other bits and pieces that I need to read and do today, so I'm not going to start reading How to Be Perfect yet, but when I do, I will come back and update you. It doesn't seem like it because this is a vlog and I'm editing everything together, but it has been a little while since I updated this particular vlog. I think it's been about a week, and I have finally finished the last book that the last book that I'm reading that Megan recommended, which is How to Be Perfect by Michael Schur. And I'm having an interesting week, the end of the first week back at work, and I currently have an ear infection. So at the moment, I sound to myself like I'm currently underwater a little bit, which is not fantastic, but that's okay. I did manage to get in to go and see the GP this morning. So I have stuff for it, but I've just realized, because I haven't spoken out loud for a little while, that I sound like I'm talking underwater. I did finish How to Be Perfect, and I did listen to the audio for it, so I've been listening to it on and off throughout the week. This is a non-fiction book on moral philosophy, which is very much outside my wheelhouse. Not the moral conversation sort of stuff, but just the theory behind a lot of these things. So it took me a little while to get through it because it was very interesting, kind of dense. Does go into a lot of sort of examples and reasons why we choose to behave in particular ways and how we might choose to become more perfect. And like, the ironic thing about this is that it's not about being perfect, it's about trying to do the best that you can and just to keep trying, which I think is a nice message. So while it probably went a little bit over my head at times just in terms of the non-fiction side of stuff, this is why I do not do non-fiction all the time, because my brain. But in terms of interest in the topic, like, it was really interesting, and the audio for it is fantastic. It is narrated by Michael Schur as well as a whole bunch of other people, including Kristen Bell. I forget who everyone else was, but they're all actors who were on The Good Place, which Michael Schur is the creator of. So yeah, Like it was really interesting and a complete opposite to everything else that I read for this vlog, which basically means it's time to wrap up this vlog. So thank you again to Megan for picking some books for me. I know she did actually give me a few extra books to pick from, but I just decided to go with 3 just so that this vlog could be more manageable. These were outstanding. Like this I am still thinking about and will continue to think about, and we'll need to do a reread at some point, possibly even an annotation vlog on it, because, whoa, I love this. This was just delightfully creepy. I do need to read more of T. Kingfisher now that I have read the Saint of Steel. Saint of Steel? I still can't remember. When I introduced this and I talked about the fact that I had read some of her books before, I knew I had to go back and look up the name, and I still haven't done it. I've read the Paladin series and this, and now I'm just deeply intrigued by other books by T. Kingfisher, and of course How to Be Perfect, which was a non-fiction, and just, you know, something completely different from both of these and what I normally read as well, which ironically I've read 2 non-fiction books in the last sort of 3 weeks, so that is very, very different for me, and it makes for a nice change of pace. It's nice just to have something completely different and outside my normal wheelhouse. So yeah. So thank you, Megan. This was fun. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I will leave links to everything down below. Feel free to have a chat to me in the comments if you've read any of these books, or if, you know, you need the spoilers for Comfort Me with Apples, you know, let me know in messages somewhere. I'm happy to sort of tell you what the retelling is if you feel like you need it. But honestly, going into it not knowing was just top notch. Thanks for watching. If you want to let me know that you're here but you don't want to leave a comment, feel free to leave an apple emoji down below. Otherwise, I will see you guys in my next video. Bye, everyone.